Hello everyone, welcome to Las Vegas, the land of the all-you-can-eat buffet, where gluttony is king and opulent spreads are just a brief Uber ride away. With so many of the buffets closing and only a handful remaining, we no longer have as many choices as we used to from days gone by. At one time, the buffet at the Bellagio was considered to be the creme de la creme. The lines were long and people waited for hours to get in. Of course, along with the reputation comes the price tag. Coming in today at $55, the Bellagio falls between the Wicked Spoon at $45 and the Wynn Bacchanal at roughly $75. So while the Bellagio is a little lower in price than the Wynn and Bacchanal at $55 a person, our expectations are still quite high. Can the Bellagio hold its own compared to the remaining premier buffets of today? We'll see. We started with a seafood appetizer plate. Oysters! I've often wondered who first had the idea to consume an oyster. I can just picture it. What have we here? Let's see. Let me pop this thing open. All right. Disgusting texture and revolting smell. Well, then I must put this in my mouth. It had to have been someone who was either highly adventurous, extremely hungry, or downright insane. That being said, the oysters are very fresh, and if you're a fan of oysters, you're going to like them. The shrimp ceviche, on the other hand, is a little chewy, but the flavor is good, nice and fresh. The shrimp, very small and not great. There are so many better buffets that have bigger and better shrimp cocktail than here. And the tuna poke, it was horrible. It was too firm and fishy and lacking in seasoning. Definitely don't recommend it. Okay, just a brief moment to shout out 2 new members to our VIP club. Welcome, Cheryl M. Evans and Kenny Coven. We greatly appreciate your support and hope you enjoy the great perks. If you wish to join, follow the link below in the description area and then click the join button. If you enjoy our content, it's a great way to ensure future videos. Here's our second plate. The shrimp and grits is not bad if you like shrimp and grits. Cosmopolitan's Wicked Spoon puts this to shame. Check out our Wicked Spoon video if you're a fan of shrimp and grits. The mac and cheese, substandard, not very rich or creamy. The bacon is completely lost here, and I'd call this dish dead on arrival, having shaken off its mortal coils several hours before. It tastes like it's been sitting here at least a few hours, if not overnight. The Cioppino is horrible, overcooked and underseasoned. I love a good Cioppino, but this in no way resembles even an average Cioppino. Well, so far, not off to a stellar start. These baked oysters, pretty good. Not the best I've ever had, but they're a nice addition to this buffet and something you rarely see anymore. They remind me of Oysters Rockefeller, but without the spinach, just the hollandaise sauce and a little Parmesan cheese on top. The mushrooms, very good, very well seasoned, rich, creamy, and satisfying. The carrot and jalapeno are both roasted, well seasoned, and fresh. And for those of us who like spice, it seems more and more every buffet these days offers roasted jalapenos, and I love it. It makes a beautiful accent to almost any dish. Okay, time to explore the Asian section. The Asian wings, very good, sweet, tangy. I love the hints of Szechuan peppercorns and chilies. It's just a little bit spicy, but not crazy hot. I love the sesame seeds as well. They give it a beautiful diversity of flavor. These remind me of Szechuan chicken in its wing form. The hargao, tasty, but I wonder if they make them here. They taste stamped out as though they came from a factory with all the soul of one who just penned an agreement with Lucifer. From the factory floor to the steamer and then to your table, voila, the modern version of restaurant food, which amounts more to reheating rather than actual cooking. Not to say that the flavor isn't decent. I like the hargao, but you can do much better in our Chinatown if it's dim sum you seek. Shumai's very good, excellent texture and flavor, but I seriously doubt they're homemade either. Pot stickers are also very decent, but again, they don't stand out as being anything special. The noodles, they're horrible, very mushy, or as my grandfather would say, not al dente, but al gummy. This Mongolian beef, sadly, also horrible. Not very flavorful, besides its being sickeningly sweet, nor is it even truly Mongolian beef. I have to say the one standout dish on this plate has to be these chicken wings. They were delicious, and I ended up getting several more plates of them. Well, now on to the main course and centerpiece of any buffet in my eyes, the meat carving station, and especially the prime rib. The mashed potatoes are tremendous. The gravy is very rich and meaty. The cranberry sauce is homemade, it's tart, tangy, and delicious. And this turkey is moist and tender. I'm loving the turkey breasts. The prime rib is great, and so far the best thing we've eaten here. I love the crust, lots of great seasoning. I can taste coarse salt, fresh cracked pepper, and garlic. The beef itself has strong marbling, so tender and juicy. The flavor of the seasoning penetrates all the way down through the cap into the heart of the slab. I would definitely put this up there with some of the best prime rib we've had here in the city and on the Strip. I love this prime rib. It's decadently rich and flavorsome. I've not heard much about the Bellagio Buffet's prime rib from other people, so I didn't know what to expect. But this is truly wonderful and a nice surprise. Since it's a buffet, you can ask for it to be cut as thickly as you like, so you could definitely get your money's worth here by requesting it to be a few inches thick. This beef rib is fantastic. It's trimmed from the outer edge of the prime rib and has been cut off and cooked at a wickedly high heat to get it nice and charred. It's not really barbecued at all. It tastes as though it's cooked right along with the prime rib, very similar in seasoning profile. The rib and prime rib are definitely the two best things here. Dipped into the barbecue sauce, it does take on the taste of barbecue and is very satisfying. To date, the best beef ribs we've had at one of these higher-end buffets has been at the Bacchanal, but this was better. At the Bellagio, the buffet runs only from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Since it closes relatively early, they have a full breakfast assortment available the entire day. What a beautiful display of breakfast food. You can see that the pancakes are good and fluffy. These taste airy like a pancake should. They're quite well made. Are they the best I've ever had? No, but they have a satisfying taste and texture, and they're great with the butter and syrup. I don't think any pancakes can compare to those at Lavo, but these are very satisfying and hit the spot. And I love the idea of this giant pancake. Very creative. I don't know that I've ever seen a pancake like this before. Look how huge this thing is. But beyond its great girth, it's also delicious. Soft and fluffy on the inside, yet with a crispy outer exterior. I wasn't expecting that. It made for a beautiful textural contrast one doesn't usually find in pancakes. It was great with the butter and maple syrup on it. Well, almost everything's better with butter and maple syrup on it. The waffle has a firm outer crust, yet is tender and light on the inside. It's a most enjoyable breakfast plate. Also, kudos for offering the butter at room temperature so it actually melts on your pancakes and waffles. At some of the buffets we've been to, the butter was ice cold, and when you put it on your pancakes, the butter just stared back at you. It served more to cool down your pancake rather than melt into a sumptuous pool of decadence. Now for our second breakfast plate. The country fried steak is made from chopped cube steak. The crust is a mixture of ground breadcrumb and panko flakes. The gravy is a creamy sausage. Not the worst I've ever had, but not great either. The blintz was good. I love the cream cheese filling and the strawberry syrup, a nice touch. I also like the fresh raspberries and blueberries. French toast was good. I like the bread, it's a good quality, not too eggy, but overall, again, not the greatest I've ever had either. The breakfast sausage, very good, fresh and nicely seasoned. I've certainly had much worse at many buffets. This little cinnamon bun is very flaky, as though it were made with a croissant dough. It was unexpectedly tasty, and if I weren't here to sample a ton of other items, I would have gone back for many more of these. I decided to sample a bit of the pizza. Not very good. As with the mac and cheese, it looked a little past its expiration date. Gummy, doughy edge, uninspiring sauce, and a limp inner crust. While I usually recommend avoiding pizza at these buffets, this advice applies in triplicate at the Bellagio. Once touted for having excellent pizza, that's no longer the case here. Now, off to the desserts. Always a highlight for me at these buffets. Started out with the jelly donut. Not the greatest donut I've ever had. Surely you could do better at any donut shop, but it's okay, just maybe a little heavy. The eclair donut. Again, this item isn't about to float off the plate. Definitely on the heavy side. The flavor's all there, good custard, but nothing to write home about either. I really like this creme brulee though. It has a nice hard sugar layer, the consistency of broken glass as it should be when you break into it. Good rich creme anglaise custard. It's surprisingly delicious, very rich and creamy, possibly the best of the dessert items at this buffet. Strawberry panna cotta. Downright depressing. Nothing to scream about, maybe more something to scream at. Barely passable in my book. Where to begin? Horrible texture, thick and gluggy. There's nothing creamy or refreshing. Just seemingly a blob of thick cornstarch like pudding. Buddy V's has the best panna cotta in the city, and if that's your obsession, definitely go there. Chocolate espresso mousse. If you think a high-end buffet is where you go to get some Jell-O chocolate pudding, then this is the buffet for you. It tasted just like it, with the addition of freeze-dried instant espresso mixed in. I'm sure they use this dried espresso flakes, because the moment I put it into my mouth, I could feel the espresso begin to dissolve on my tongue. It reminds me of when your kid attempts to make you dinner for the first time and is trying to be creative, leaving you at a loss, searching for something good to say, to not dash their hopes. All right, time for some ice cream. The caramel ice cream was a bit of a letdown. In fact, all the ice cream is pretty ordinary. Ice cream is not the Bellagio's strong suit. I did, however, enjoy the ice cream cone quite a bit more than the ice cream. For truly spectacular ice cream, again, hit up the Wicked Spoon Buffet at the Cosmopolitan, or the Ice Cream at the Wynn Buffet. And if out and about, try the Gelato Bar in Chinatown, some of the best gelato you'll ever taste. Okay, now our second dessert plate, macaroons. The raspberry's pretty bad. Not a good macaroon, stodgy and overly sweet. The cookie itself is heavy. This vanilla macaroon is also not very good. Neither is the pistachio. And then there's a tiramisu. I didn't like it at all. Way too much instant coffee in it. This is that style of tiramisu I'm seeing more and more these days, that's made with cake instead of ladyfingers. As with the pudding, it tasted like that instant espresso again. And then there was the artificial vanilla extract. In fact, that's the way I would describe the entire dish. Artificial. Carrot cake is also not good. This key lime pie looks, again, artificial. The texture is somewhat sickening, and it's maybe the worst key lime pie I've ever tasted. In fact, they have got a lot of nerve even calling it that. This pecan pie is atrocious. I don't think anyone would like either of these little pies they serve. Finally, we had the Oreo cheesecake. Not bad, definitely tastes like Oreo, and the cheesecake is rich and creamy. It's passable, but I don't go to a buffet and spend $50+ for simply passable desserts. With the exception of the creme brulee, none of these desserts are top buffet caliber, maybe not even mid-tier buffet caliber. I was at South Point's Garden Buffet a few weeks back, and in a bit of a turnaround for them, the desserts were quite good, much better than the Bellagio, and for half the price. The Bellagio is a gorgeous property. The majestic beauty of the water cannon show, the living work of art that is the Botanical Garden, and the shopping mall, the very definition of refinement and opulence. Everything about the Bellagio speaks class and distinction. But unless you drifted off or have terrible comprehension skills, you probably already know what we think of this buffet. Let's put it this way. How many times does a buffet at $55 a head have a review which spends 30 seconds discussing a carrot and a jalapeno? Once a proud member of the upper tier buffets, along with the Wynn, Bacchanal, Anthony's Prime, now it's a mere shell of its former glory. Of course, we do need to keep things in perspective. It isn't that the food is inedible, but for $55 a person, and with its storied surroundings, our expectations are equally elevated. If we'd spent $30 per person, I would have been reasonably satisfied. But for the price, there were many glaring deficiencies, including the dessert, which is one of the weakest offerings I've experienced at almost any Vegas buffet, and the Asian and seafood offerings, also subpar. All that being said, if you're a beef lover, the prime rib and beef rib, they were fantastic, and can definitely make this buffet worth the price. Given the cost of barbecue and prime rib at even mid-tier restaurants, if someone with a healthy appetite ate 4 or 5 of those ribs or had a few 1 to 2 inch thick slabs of prime rib, you'd be ahead in the game. Other than that though, this is by no means a bargain. You can do much better elsewhere. And we look forward to an upcoming Best of Buffets review coming very soon. I know we're all guilty of watching YouTube videos and not participating. As a reminder, please like, comment, subscribe, or even become a VIP member to our channel. It means a lot to us, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews.
Until we eat again, bon appetit!